Good afternoon, everyone. This is John Myers coming to you from Toronto, Ontario, in my Toronto Blue Jays blue, and delighted to be here to introduce this call. I'm one of the co-founders of Edsby, and if you're connecting in real time or watching the recording of this session, you're part of the Edsby enthusiast family. You're one of the people who've come forward as a big fan of Edsby. Thanks for being a part of our community. We bring occasional sessions like this to share what's happening at Edsby behind the scenes for your information and for your feedback. I'm happy to have here today with Edsby, to have with us Edsby co-founder and VP of Product Design, John Asbury. With John is Bailee Ziegenhagel. She's our User Experience Design Prime. And we also have Julie Oak from our demonstration documentation team and our QA team. She's joining us as well. Today's session is entitled The Future of AI in Edsby. We'd like enthusiasts' input on the existing Edsby Teacher AI Assistant and our future plans for AI in Edsby. What features of the current assistant have you tried? What did we get right in the first version of the Teacher AI Assistant? What might you think is missing? We're looking forward to a productive group conversation with our Edsby product people and our Edsby enthusiasts. Finally, just another confirmation that today's session is being recorded for those whose schedules couldn't let them join us live. They'll be able to watch this recorded video. So with that, I'll turn it over to John, Bailee, and Julie.
Okay, hello everyone. This is John. As John just said, the two Johns are here today. And John has gone through the purpose of the call, so I'm not going to repeat that. We are going to, the marketing guys, decided what the agenda was for today, and we've decided to change it last minute because we want to make it more fun, and we also want to make it more interactive. So to that note, in fact, I noticed we've got a bunch of people on the call now. We ask that you just turn your cameras on if you can. Hopefully you're not having a super bad hair day like me, and you're okay turning your camera on. It just helps us, this is a relatively small, advocates of Edsby or enthusiasts of Edsby call. So, we're all friends here. We've all probably met each other before. So turn on your camera if you can. And you're welcome to interrupt us. We want this to be sort of a back and forth. We're happy to make it into a discussion, but rather than posting, messages in the text chat, put your hand up. There's a raise your hand button in Teams. If you click on that and then just turn on your mic and talk and ask us some question, I think it will be more fun, more of a warm, friendly fireside sort of an environment. Also, one more thing is I'm going to share with you a Google Doc link, and I'm going to do that right now in the little sidebar there. So there's a little Google Doc. Please click that. You should be all able to open that and type into it. In fact, we'd prefer, if you don't want to put your hand up and ask the question, put it into the Google Doc. So we have a nice, recording of things. And that is sectioned off according to the different parts of the presentation. Okay. So without further ado, we're going to start with where AI, the AI teacher assistant is right now. We shipped that back in the spring, and probably some of you have played with it, some of you have bought it, and Bailee is here to demo that to us. Again, as you have questions or whatever, feel free to enter them into the Google chat or into the Google Doc rather, or put your hand up, and we'll try and accommodate that. Okay, over to you, Bailee.
Before I get started, I'm just going to say one thing that I'm noticing now, and you guys already noticed, is that you don't have permissions to turn on your camera or your microphone. So unless we're able to change that, and if someone wants to try in the background, then turn it on if you're able. Yeah. If not, then we'll use the chat, but we'll work on that. Okay. So, all right. So you've probably seen the teacher AI assistant stuff before, so I'm just going to give you a quick demo of what we have. Maybe there's something that you've forgotten that we have or didn't know we had, or maybe I'll show you a way to use it that you haven't really thought of before, but I'll just give you a quick overview of what we've got. Oh, awesome. So many faces. That's great.
They've been empowered.
Love it. All right. Okay, I'm sharing my screen, I believe. If that's not the case, just let me know. But here I am as Mr. James Harris. So I'm an English teacher and I'm in one of my classes right now. And so for the text composer, which is one of our most basic and probably most common day-to-day uses of AI, we have this in the feed post here. It's also available in many text fields, as you may have noticed. You can see where AI is based on this little AI icon that we've got in the bottom corner. So here as James, I'm going to make a little post for my students. So I've written something else before. I'm just going to paste it here. And this is just super quick point form. I just wrote down what I need to tell them, but I want to make it a little bit nicer. So I'm going to use AI to do that. So I just wrote point form and I can make it into a paragraph. I can make it more clear. I can make it more detailed. I can do some fun stuff, and you can see pretty quickly it's changed my point form list into a very concise little paragraph here. I can make it a little bit more friendly, or I can use some of our fun prompts here, like using Gen Alpha slang. So, know your audience, right? And whenever I'm ready with it, I can change it. This is all editable, but if I'm ready, I can just insert the text here and I can share it right in my class. And so much work, for such a short thing. No, it was great. It saved a lot of time. I didn't have to write out full sentences, and I was able to make it a little bit fun for my students, which was really great. So that is a quick overview of the text composer. Now I'm going to take a look at the summarizer here. And so for a good use case of this, I've moved over to William Ham, who is the principal at our high school. And so he's in quite a few groups here. It's really hard for him to keep track of what he's going through. So we have this one group that we're in, which is the chemistry teachers and curriculum. And as William Ham, I like to stay up to date with what the teachers are discussing around the different curriculums that they're working with. I don't know about you, I'm not super scientifically wired, so sometimes I have a hard time just tracking their posts and everything. And so what I'm going to do with this more technical thing is I'm going to summarize the thread. And so just using that option in the dropdown, I get a quick narrative view of that. If I want to break it down even further, I can change it to point form. And as you can see, we have some other ones. We have this little fun one that seems to keep making its way out there. A nice way to lighten your mood. Also being able to translate it too. I'm not very good at French, but in the French groups with curriculum, I'll be able to read what they're writing, no problem. And so here I just have 3 short bullet points of what they're talking about in their chemistry curriculum. And I can read that a lot faster than the paragraphs that they wrote out. And if I want to do anything with this text, I can modify it a little bit and copy it to use wherever I'd like. All right. And if we go back to Mr. James Harris here, we are in the same class, but we're going to look at something in the gradebook. So another AI feature that we have is the writing critiquer. And right now this is working for PDF files where we can read the information that students have given us and provide a little critique for us. So we're looking at Lisa's submission for the character reflection. And so we can find that in the grader. Right, and right here we have a PDF, her submission. I've taken some time to, make some highlights, mark it up a little bit, but I'm looking at something I can give her some reasonable next steps and stuff in the comment of this. So what I'm going to do over in the teacher assessment area, I'll click critique, and you can see it's extracted the text from this PDF, and it's given me a general critique of her writing level. So she's writing at a high school level, which is great. Also, the highlights, the bolded text here helps me skim this a lot faster, which is really great. And I can see some advice for improvement. So she could work more on elaborating her ideas, structure, organization, language variety, a bunch more. And if I want to focus more on grammatical errors, I can also use the prompt here for that. But I'm going to stick with this structure and organization. I like this comment. And so I'm just going to highlight a little bit of this here. I can copy that, or I can copy this entire thing using the copy text function. And I'll close this, and I can put that right into her comment and share that with her whenever I'd like. All right. And for the next one, we're going to move over to the report card. So I'm actually going to move to a different class for this one. Right. And in the report card here, we've got a couple students. I've put in a comment for Elizabeth, but now I'm going to work on Lisa. So I have some ideas for what I want to say to her, and I've copied this from before. So I'm just going to paste this in here. I just wrote some bullet points here for things that I want to address in her comment. And I'll go to the comment assistant. And I wrote this in point form. It's just formatting it like a paragraph, just from the line breaks, but it's not really a concise paragraph. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a paragraph. Great. And we can see that my character limit is way over, and among a bunch of other useful prompts that I might use any other time, right now I just want to make it shorter. So I'll hit shorter. And if it's still too long, you can hit shorter as much as you want until it's within your character limit. But right now we're already there, which is great. 411 out of 450. And I read it, looks good, and then I can insert that right into a report card. That took about 30 seconds. So makes report card comment writing a lot easier. Obviously, there's the prep work with knowing what kind of points you want to include, but it's much easier to just write it in point form and then have the AI form it into a nice paragraph. Even sometimes you need to make it a little bit more asset based. It helps you with that as well. All right, and the last feature I want to show you is probably one of our more powerful AI features, which is the question sheet generator. So I'm back on my class feed. I'm going to go to content. And here I have a bunch of content here. I have an entire Lord of the Flies unit, which if I wanted to, clicking that, I could click make a question sheet right here, and it would make a question sheet based on the entire unit. So it would take all the information in the unit page itself, as well as all of the pages and lessons below. But that's a lot of information, and I'm trying to give you a quick demo. So I'll just do one page right now. So I'll do a quick question sheet on Golding's war experience. So we have a lot of information in here, which is really great. And I just want to turn that into a question sheet. So I'll click that there. Now this is a page, so I can't tie any expectations to it, but if it's a lesson or a unit and I already have those tied to this element, it comes pre-populated right here. But for now, I'm just going to add the one that I want. Actually, this is reading and literature, reading for meeting. Let's do that one. And I can modify this however I like, but I'm just going to stick with the defaults right now, 10 multiple choice, 4 choose all that apply, and 1 paragraph. And then I will create a question sheet. Now this one does take a little bit longer just because it's formulating such rich content, but all in all, it takes a lot less time than creating the question sheet yourself. And you can always add a bunch of extra questions. Say you only want 5 multiple choice. If you have it generate 10, then you can just pick and choose whatever you want. So it's really helpful for that. And it will also consider the expectations or outcome standards, whatever term that you use in all of these questions as well. So you know that it's going to be writing questions catered to your grade level. All right, so it opens in our personal folder, so we can use it wherever we want. And just taking a look at it, we've got a bunch of questions. We have all the answers filled out with the right answer selected. We even have specific expectations tied to the questions that are relevant to it, which is great. We can take a look. I'm liking what I see. Nothing blatantly wrong, although I'll be honest, I haven't read Lord of the Flies since I was in high school, so I could be wrong about that. But it's always a good practice to review anything that the AI generates. And so once we finish that, we can just save it. And you don't even need to save it. I actually didn't make any changes, so you could have just canceled. But yeah, that's it. Yeah, so those are the current offerings for AI. And you've probably had some time to explore that yourself. But if you have any feedback on how it works today, how you're using it, maybe want to share some use cases, or you have ideas for how these features can be improved, you can add them all to the Google Doc. Yeah, I will throw it to Julie for a demo.
Let me just jump in there for 1 second. It is turned on for everyone on Sandbox. So if you have a Sandbox account, you can try it out and play about with it there if you don't have it already. And yes, over to Julie. So actually, so we did talk. This is the freebie. She's one of 3 freebies you get in this. We're not just going to talk about AI, but you'll see that they do somewhat dovetail together. There's some. We're going to show you after Julie has talked a bunch of features that are AI related, but they do relate to learning destinations, which is the new thing that we're excited about. So Julie, we thought it appropriate to demo a little bit of that. It is working very nicely, and we're about to release it, at least in a beta form, out this year. So over to you, Julie.
All right. Make sure I have my mic on. Okay, great. So let me go back a little bit. So learning destinations, if any of you were at the Edsby Fest, you're starting to, be familiar with learning destinations. So learning destinations is trying to help students answer the 3 big questions. What am I learning right now? Where do I need to go? And how do I get there? And that's what learning destinations is all about. And of course, we want to create tools that are helpful to busy teachers and let them do their job quickly and efficiently, and have a good good information to make decisions on. So this is what's called the learning destinations, the dashboard. And so I'm teaching a grade 4 math class, and we're working on the shape and space unit. We're doing 2 reading times, digital times. We're talking about 2D shapes and 3D shapes, and all of that good stuff. So when I look at this dashboard, I can see in the first column, how I've finished evaluating the students. So they have, in this case, meeting, approaching, exceeding, and beginning. I think those are the 4, but they're completely soft. So whatever symbolic grade scheme that you want to use in your district, you'll be able to use that. This is just how we have this set up. And in the next column, if I look at that, I can see the next 2 columns, I can see where my kids are. So I can see who's started things, and the light gray of things that the student thinks they know. They claim that they know a specific success criteria, and the dark green are things where the teacher said, yeah, you do know that. It's been confirmed by the teacher. So when I click in one of the outcomes or one of the destinations, what I can see there, I can see the student progress is there whenever I open it, so I always know what's going on. And I've got learning destinations, which are written in student-friendly language, and I've got the success criteria. So if you can do these 3 things, then you've completed that outcome, and students can claim it and you can confirm it. And so that's what that looks like. And I can do things like move things around. I can hide things. What I do, I'm not on a QA server at the moment, but the developer has just turned over the ability to print your outcomes. And, so you can print them out and put them on your wall. We're all very excited about that. Looks very pretty. And when I pop in here, I see how the student is doing in this outcome. So I can see that the student has claimed that she knows how to do these 3 things. And the nice thing is that it's all connected. So Maya has submitted some evidence, and because it's being tagged with this outcome, it's going to appear in the student feed. So no matter how I'm using Edsby, whether I'm using the gradebook, whether I'm using the evidence, it's just all going to come together in this the student feed in destinations. So I can see her worksheet. I can see this is coming from the gradebook, and Maya has just sent me a message why she thinks she understands the lines of symmetry. And I can either confirm the criteria here or up top, And there's a way for me to communicate with the student. The student can ask me questions. And whenever the student sends me something, I can confirm the criteria. When I open this up, I can edit the evidence right from here. So we've tried to make it so you're not going all over the place, right? You can get to whatever information you need. And so I've done the observation, and I've put in a performance level, which is optional, and that's what the student has said. And sure. And when I look at a gradebook item, I can edit the assessment right here. I can view the assessments. I can pop over to the grader. So whenever you don't have to, sort of go and find things. If I wanted to edit the assessment right from here, I could. Oops, that's all right. That's already being fixed. This server's a couple of weeks behind. So there's different ways of working. And so you can sort of walk around and do assessments. So, sort of like sticking your toe in the pool. You don't have to do, I've already done that one, this one. If they're in italics, it means you haven't done any success criteria yet. That's so you can tell. But if I just wanted to walk around and do an attainment, I could just mark as attained and choose a level, and I'm done. Right? So not every class has to be the same. Not every outcome needs to be the same. You can choose from the variety of tools what works best for you and your students. And yeah, and it's all connected with the other items. And for the student view, this is what the student sees. So they're at being able to answer those questions. What am I learning right now? Where do I need to go, and how do I need to get there? And that will be answered through this panel. So I can see that what I've learned, I got a meeting in the reading clocks, digital and analog time, but I'm currently working on these two items. And I've learned, the teacher has said I've learned 1 of 5 things, but I've claimed, I think, 2 others. And I can pop in here. And as a student, I can ask the teacher a question. I can do a reflection. So, I can get a hint. And I can capture learning right from here. So this is no different than using capture or using capture learning from within the learning story. The nice thing here is it's going to be tagged, right? Because I am submitting evidence for this outcome. And so it's going to be pre-tagged for you when it comes into evidence. And so I got to reflect, and I've got self-assess. So I can say, I've claimed these 2 things. And if I think that I understand the words parallel, equal, and angle to describe things, then I can submit my evidence. It can just be a sentence, and then I can claim it. So that's the student view of things. And there's, so submitting the evidence. All right. So that's a whistle-stop tour of where we are in destination so far. Any questions before I hand it back to Bailee? We'll talk about how AI is going to be applied to this. Okay, well, I'll stop sharing and hand it back to Bailee.
Awesome. Thanks, Julie. Yes, you were all lured here under the pretense of AI, so I'm going to give you a little bit more AI stuff here. So you saw learning destinations. Some of you have had a little bit more time to digest what you've seen here. So I hope Julie's demo is enough to give you context for what I'm about to show you. But yeah, so we have some additional AI features that we have planned for down the road with learning destinations. So I will show you some prototypes of this. So none of this is built right now, so it will look a little bit different. It might look a little bit prettier, if I'm honest, but just because mock-ups are always designed with ideal stuff versus real content. So, all right. Okay. So there's a few options that we're going to do with AI and learning destinations. All right, so this first one, we're calling it the writing assistant, kind of keeping with the theme of what we've done already with the AI teacher assistant. But what this is, so right now I'm logged in as a teacher, I'm looking at my destinations, and I'm just managing this one destination. So I don't have any details yet, but I just want to rewrite a destination. I've already written one, but I don't love it. I want to rewrite it. And then I also want to include some success criteria, but that's taking a lot of work. I don't really want to think about it, so I'm going to use AI. And since I've linked it to the standard, and there are a bunch of substandards or nested standards or outcomes, expectations, whatever you call it, we're going to consider these when we generate some learning destination and success criteria text for you. So let's start with the destination. So this one, I just want to rewrite. So I already have something here. So all I need to do is click the AI icon, and you can see it's rewriting. And here I have a much more detailed learning destination that I think my students will understand a bit better. If I want to tweak it, as always, when it comes to AI, you definitely want to review it before you kind of put your stamp of approval on it. So I can always edit it, modify it, or I can undo it, go back, say I like what it was before, and we'll just try it again. This isn't real, so it's going to show the same thing as before, as you'll notice. But yeah, so I've written a much more detailed learning destination in a few seconds, which is great. And success criteria here. So this will show the example of generating. So the rewriting and generating, it works the same way for learning destinations and success criteria. It goes based off of the content that you already have there. So if you have no content, it's just going to generate it. If you have existing content, we'll rewrite it for you. So success criteria, let's generate some. So I'm just clicking on this AI button, and it's generating 5 success criteria here. And so I have the option to undo it if I don't like it. I can review the individual success criteria and make some changes however I'd like. And the great thing that's unique to success criteria, obviously based on what it is, if I have existing text here, we'll rewrite what you have there with AI, but we'll also add a couple more. So you can always get a few more, and you can save the ones that you want and generate some extras. So you never lose anything. You don't have to copy and paste it in a different document until it generates the ones that you want, and, slice and dice it all. It's going to be really, really simple, which is great. Yeah, so if you're happy with that, then you're good to go. You can add more if you'd like, write it out or modify it. Yeah. And then this is also going to be available on mobile. So I'll show you a quick version of the mobile. So here on mobile, you have the editing mode, and you also have the AI options. So you don't need to be in editing mode to trigger the AI. But if you click it right here, it'll rewrite it for you, and it will throw you into editing mode so you can make changes right then and there without having to make any extra clicks. If you like what you see, you can just hit save and you're good to go. All right. So the next AI feature I'm going to show you is the student summary. So Julie showed you the student feed here, and there's a lot of information. There's the success criteria that they've claimed, which is shown by the face here, and the ones that the teacher has agreed that the student has completed, which is represented by the gold star. And if you scroll down further, there's going to be a lot of posts, maybe some evidence based on what they've done to kind of feed into those claims. And so I'm just looking at Ben. I have a few seconds and I want to see where Ben is at. So I can see the progress bar, which is great, but I want a little bit more detail. So at the top right here, I have the AI summary. So whenever I want, I can just click generate summary, and it will generate a short little summary with some next steps. So this one's saying Ben is progressing slowly. He's working through some of the success criteria one at a time when he could be tackling multiple. So that's an interesting observation there. And we can see that he's struggling, especially with explaining the process of solving an equation. And so I like what I see. If I find that helpful, I can take it and run with it. If I want some more insights or I'm not totally sure, I like what this is saying, I can regenerate it as much as I want, get a different option or a different piece of insight from the AI. Most likely it will end up being more or less the same just based off of the content that you have there. But it will be helpful to go back from time to time, get the quick summary, see where you can focus on, like what areas you can focus on with Ben, and get some ideas for next steps. Now, the student will never see this. This is only to assist the teacher. So the teacher ultimately has control on what the student sees for next steps and anything like that. And this one is also available on mobile, super simple, same spot. You can just generate something and regenerate. Nothing too complex there. Now, speaking of complex, we have the voice assistant, which is probably one of the biggest AI features that we have ever thought about doing. And we think it's really cool. So logged in as Mr. James Harris here, I'm looking at all the students in my class. And I'm wondering where I need to focus. This is a lot of information and it keeps going past this fold here and even further down. And so I'm just wondering if there's a quick way to get the information that I want. So you may have noticed this little button in the bottom corner with the AI icon. So this is going to pop up with some voice assistant. So it's essentially an AI chat. So after a bit, you'll get some messages here. So I can see, oh, this is my friendly AI assistant. And so what I can do is I can just click to open it, or I can speak to it, which is really cool. So if I just click and hold this, see it's recording me. So I can speak my command, whatever I want it to do, and then it will respond in turn. But right now I'm just going to click on this. And this is what I would see if I didn't record anything, if I didn't type anything. So I get my first little intro message, which I'll see whenever I come here for the first time. And I have some prompts on questions I can ask the AI. Now I can type in my own, which is great for flexibility. I can still record from here, but I also find the prompts super helpful just to give me some quick ideas at what I can ask. So I am interested at who's falling behind. So I can just click that and I'm going to get a response from the AI. So you'll see it highlights 3 students for me. It highlights them in the text, but it also highlights them in the dashboard. So I'm looking at Ben, Daniel, and Grace, and I'm just noticing now Grace is misspelled, but it means Grace. So I can see that Daniel and Grace still need help on manipulating expressions and solving equations. And you can see they've highlighted these cells here, and you can see that they are significantly behind compared to the rest of the class. There are other students who have that in progress, but they are further along than both Daniel and Grace. So this is why the AI has featured these 2 students to me. And also Ben needs help. He needs to catch up on using data management to investigate relationships, this one. And you can see most of the class has already completed this, attained it, and Ben is really far behind. So I can see that's why the AI also featured him. And so now that I have a little bit more information, I have some additional prompts that are more relevant to the information that I'm dealing with from the AI. So I can type my own thing, go in a completely different direction, or I can follow up and I can say, like, tell me more about Ben, or maybe create some practice quizzes that can help these students move forward in these learning destinations. So it's a super helpful tool to get you the information that you need, whatever that might be, because we can anticipate as many of your questions as possible, but we know every class, every student is unique, and the needs of every teacher are unique as well. And so this gives them the flexibility to get the answers to the questions that they want. And most importantly, this is also available on mobile. All right, so here we can see at the bottom of the screen, we have this button. You can tap and hold it to record yourself, which is really helpful for just walking around the classroom. Although if you're speaking into this, you might want to be a little bit quieter, but you can just click that and you can get the message preview, and let's expand it and we can get all the details that we want. And if we close this, we can still see the students highlighted. So we can see this particular self of Ben is of particular importance to us. And we can also see that Daniel and Grace are needing some attention as well, just from the highlights. And yeah, so that is what's coming down the pipe for AI with learning destinations. And we're always looking for more ways to use AI and improve what we have coming. So if you have any ideas for that, you can post that in the Google Doc. Any questions?
Okay, I guess so. Feel free to ask questions in the Google Doc there, or to post your feedback, please. I don't see a lot of feedback in there so far, but maybe it's all going to come at the end. Okay, so I'm going to show you two things. I'm going to try and stick to 5 minutes for each one of these things. It's 5:37 our time, so we've been doing this for 37 minutes, and I think Julie and Bailee have been bang on schedule, so I will try and not wreck that. Okay, so I'm going to show you two things. First of all, I'm going to show you this thing we call Universal Diagnostic Assessment. There's a new version of it coming out, and so I just wanted to show you that quickly. Universal Diagnostic Assessment is, and I will share my screen here. I'll try and talk at the same time. No, I won't. I can't do that. Okay, there it is. Let's see if that's right. So you should see the QA School of Analytics. You see that? Yes, okay, excellent. I'm logged on here as District IT, and I have loaded up a bunch of universal diagnostic assessment data. That's a very long, unwieldy name. What that means is some form of test that you might, or assessment that you might do on a regular basis that you might want to analyze. So it might be a monthly reading test, or it might be a twice a year reading test, and you want to track how kids are doing. So since this is a very short demo, let's get right into there and have a look. So I'll load up the assessments dashboard here. And it looks different than before. Look at that. We've changed basically the way the chart displays here. And I have loaded up this with 12 years, I think, of fake data, all the way from 2012 back to 2012 up to the current date. So I guess that's 13 years. Is it? Whatever it is. And so you can scroll this, of course. We got rid of the little many repeating bar graph things. We think this is much better. Well, I'm certain it's much better. It just works much nicer. And you can see basically everything has been mapped to a common scale here of remedial. Actually, those are funny ones, but remedial, beginning, meeting, and exceeding. And you'll notice it's a big mixture here of different kinds of assessments with different strands. So this is a fictitious test where you are scored in math, reading, science, social, and writing. Okay, and then I have also one that's equivalent to the FNP, the Fontaine and Purnell reading test on 3 strands of comprehension, fluency, and reading level. And you can see all of this is showing in here. So we can track this across these years. Now, I'm going to focus in on one thing to make this a bit more wieldy. The opposite of unwieldy. Is that true? Is that a real word? I'm going to go to reading here. Let's just look at the reading stuff. So you can see these are just the last bunches of years of reading, and you can then split that by, you know, different things such as grade. Now, it's going to produce a lot of data because it's going to split each one of those things across 12 or 13 grades. Similarly, I could do it for gender. So, you know, again, this is fake data. We're not seeing anything we shouldn't be seeing here. You can split on different things, and we can switch. We switch things around. So you can filter down this. You can filter this down to different strands, different families. You can filter by school, by student, by date. Many different kinds of filters in. The other couple of things that that I will point out here while we're here. In fact, let's just go back. Let's just reset for a second. And I'm going to you can switch now between this expected. Now, the reason we have expected, just take 30 seconds to explain that. In reading level, a kid who is reading at level G, let's say, you know, on a scale of A to Z, if they're in kindergarten, that might be good. But if they're in grade 12, that's not so good, right? So it's relative to the level we expect for your grade and age, and there's a way to set all that up. The other thing I'll point out here is that you as you as a district administrator or as an educator can set up these assessments. You can create any kind of assessments. You can import them from external sources if it's a third-party assessment, for example, or you can use the gradebook to model things out into teachers' gradebooks so that teachers can enter it directly. So, you know, it's either import by CSV or gradebook entry. So let's just flip this. So normally this expected mode is the mode we're in right now. I'm going to flip over to raw score mode. So this is really quite exciting. And this basically is showing, you know, if we focus in, let's just focus in on a, let's just go to reading A to Z here. That's the FMP one, and that's a little bit better. So you can see on a scale of A to Z, we're getting some different assessments, and it's basically counting how many of each there are. So you can kind of see, now this is fake data, so you know, don't try and glean anything from this, but if you see things changing over time, basically gives you that longitudinal view. And lastly, you can assign scores to things. You don't have to. This can count symbols and count the expected symbols, but you can also, if you've got numeric data, it will basically, it uses this. This is what norm score is. And probably I should take off this filter here. So do that again. I have to stay within my 5 minutes. So this, if there are numeric equivalents to things, like if you've scored a test and it's out of percentage or out of 20 or something, then that can be computed basically on a norm score scale. Okay. Any questions there? I realize that was very fast, but one last feature that's new for those who are already using UDA is you can put things into it. Normally it defaults to what we call a 100% stack column chart, which basically means everything that it's the percentage of students in each case. You can switch to just a regular column chart, and that will show you the number of in this case results, because I'm on this mode here. So you can see that in that case, you can see this one, there was more of those for some reason. So normally you want to see the proportion so you can compare more easily. Okay, I'm going to move on to another thing that is exciting. So this is the next big thing after destinations. We hinted at this back, I think, at Edsby Fest, but it's basically working now. So I'm going to show you the new forms system, which now this is not shipping yet, and it probably won't ship until next year sometime. And I'm going to first show you I'm going to go here, and I'm going to show you the forms builder. So I'm here as the district IT. So you can make your own forms now, and you can basically have people fill them in. So I'm going to quickly go zoom forms from the manage page. And I've made a few silly ones. I'll show you a silly one first, and I'll show you a bit more of a serious one. So this is a form I made. It's the favorite things form. I put two fields on it. One is your favorite color, and one is your favorite animal. Okay, that's an example one. I have a much more fancy one here. This is the foundations of learning one, and this has got lots of sort of IEP special needs related stuff in it. Got a more simple version of that in here. This basically test form, all the different kinds of fields. You can have string fields, you can have checkboxes, you can have choice lists, radio buttons, and whatnot. And What's the other one? And I made one for maintenance request too, but that's okay. So we'll do all that. And now I want to say, okay, that's really cool. So let's just now go over, and I think it's in my next tab here. Oh, I lied. Maybe it's here. Oh, yes, it is. Okay, so I'm going to go Kentridge High School. And here's what's kind of cool. I think this is cool. But I'm amused easily. So this is Student Zoom that you're all familiar with, I'm sure, right? But you'll notice that under filters here, there's a new facet on the left here. And I kind of think of this as a smart tag in a sense. So what we're saying here is that certain students have had a form filled out on their panorama. Okay, and so I can actually use this to filter down this list. Now, you might make an IEP form, for example, or in my case, it's the Foundations for Learning or the Favorite Things form. So let's say I want to see all the kids who have a Favorite Things form. We'll click on that, and we see there are, in fact, only two. In fact, Teresa Moreno, let's go look at her. Just jump in and look at her regular panorama, and there you can see there's two forms. So basically, I'm able to construct new types of things, and I can basically have them be fill-outable. That's not a real word. Hopefully, there's no English teachers here who are shocked by my grammar or poor grammar. So anyway, there's a favorite things form, here. It's got date and time and stuff, and then there's a mobility survey one. Okay, and then I have that big Foundations for Learning one. I'm going to switch to a different site here and say, wouldn't it be cool if, well, let's just actually go here. Wouldn't it be cool if we could go into, where is it? I think it's this one. I get confused. I switch between different systems all the time. So I'm going to look at that one. Was it the Favorite Things survey? Okay, so this is analytics. I've not done anything. No one has written any, well, code directly related to the form. And you can see here that what is in fact the favorite animal? It is the moose and the dog. That's because we live in Canada. Really, it should be more than the moose, I think. And favorite color here, the favorite color is blue. Who knew? And so you can jump in, basically, I've filtered here on favorite things. Let's look at your needs interview. That's another one. But I'm going to show you a better example here because let's just jump over here. So here's a school Zoom for another one of our test systems. And in this case, you'll notice we've got a bunch of extra forms here. And I happen to have a lot of data on this one, so it looks much prettier. So Foundations for Learning version 6 here. We're going to list all, these are all the kids that have a Foundations for Learning. I will look at Bailee here, and you can see, so this is a special needs type of form where, and there's quite a lot of thinking underneath this. These are basically on scales of 0 to 7, being 0 being not a special need, 7 is a more of an extreme need. And you can see as we hover, you can create this. So when I actually use that forms builder, I can actually put in the hover text and whatnot for each of these things. So, who are we? Abby Bailee here. That's kind of a profile, and you kind of scroll down and see under these kind of overall things and sensory needs, executive functions. So you can create grouping on the form, and you can delete, you can collapse and show stuff, etc. Okay. Now, wouldn't it be cool if we could analyze that in analytics? And the answer is yes, it would be cool. So let's do that. Oh, I think I'm over by 1 minute my time here, so I'm almost done. So here, this is basically looking at many results, which are on basically just forms added to the student panorama. You can see the questions as a histogram from each one. We could focus in on a few. Let's say we care about gustatory and olfactory, hearing, and meal times. Okay, so we can look at it however we want to. We can compare them. Now, because these have numeric answers, like on a scale, the 0 to 7 or 0 to 5 scale, we can actually sum them in a way to determine what the total needs, the total kinds of needs are. So, what area has the most need? I might want to put some funding on against that. So this kind of does it here. Now my filters are, it has kept my filters from the previous screen. So these are basically I think the 16 or 18 questions. And basically it's showing us that play skills is the area that has the most need. Now, this is fake data. We've just randomly pulled stuff out. So don't try and infer anything from this. But you can see there, why basically these things have been added. It's with the number and the level of it adds up to make the column higher, and all the way down to interception, not particularly high need there. And you can also flip this. Let's say we care about students in particular areas of need, and we can see here that Scott Atkins has the most need because his bar is the biggest, and you can see kind of where for each kid these break down. Each color here is in fact one of the questions on the form, but we haven't built anything custom here. This is coming because the administrator or district educator people have created the forms, and it automatically has flown to analytics. That's it. And we think this is pretty exciting. Any questions? Feel free to raise your hand or put a comment in the Google Doc. Is the game on tonight, by the way? Does anyone know? Yes. Jade, I see you got the thing. I'm hoping it doesn't go till 3 o'clock in the morning like it did last time. And I foolishly stayed up till 3 o'clock.
So did I. So did I.
Yes, that's why we're all yawning and drinking lots of coffee.
Well, last night was mercifully efficient, and
yes, that was much better.
We'll hope for something similar.
And they won too, so
yes.
Okay.
No questions, and I'm terrible. I can't put anything into the feedback form. I did share this out. I'm one of the team members. Then I did come to one day of the Edsby Fest. So, but just a quick question: this is enabled in Sandbox? We just need to do something with the setting. Is that what you were saying? Or I'm talking not about part? This, the AI assistant. Sorry, and the yes. Learning destinations, not these ones.
So AI assistant is turned on on Sandbox and has been for a while. Learning destinations is not yet on Sandbox. I believe that's correct, Julie, right? She's not sure.
So it's of course it is available on Sandbox, but it hasn't been turned on, and maybe that's something we can consider when it goes out to beta.
Yeah,
and turn it on for everybody.
I think absolutely we should turn it on for people who are interested on Sandbox. I think whether we turn it on for everyone or by request, we'll figure that out. But we're I would say weeks away now from doing that. We're finishing off a few little bits and pieces here and there, and we really want it to be a highly polished product when we go out, which will include training materials, documentation, and a course, a PD module. So that is the plan. But yeah, and we are really excited about destinations. I think it's in many ways changing the paradigm, helping to change the paradigm of education. So
well, what I really like about that learning destination, and I'm just writing some notes here to send to my team, is you've got the learning destination that's student friendly. I like that. It's scaffolded with some steps so that you can kind of see the sub skills. I really like that. And I like the ability to connect the evidence to that learning piece, right?
Yeah,
so that connection, we're talking a lot about that with actually the last 2 days, you'll be interested to know our team has just led 2 workshops, one on the learning story, and today was on the portfolio. We looked at a lot of the features for communication and engagement. And we started off with just what are good assessment practices. And so we talked about triangulation of data, and I think this is where it is, where I can see the learning goal, and I'm actually now connecting directly. It's going into the learning story. So I really like that. In terms of the AI features, those are great. I'm going to call them bells and whistles, but that's also because I'm old. I would have kind of come up with that on my own. It is nice to have a little button that you can make those things faster. I don't know who came up with the pirate. That sounds brilliant. How much fun. So, just some feedback on that. There's some, who knew that assessment and reporting could be fun at the same time. But, and then the learning analytic dashboard, we just actually did feature with you on our personalized goals. We're in SunWest School Division in Saskatchewan. And, even just connecting that analytics to the information. This might be a different way for us to go and put that information in down the road. So, lots of great features here. I think they're all good, but I really like the destination piece myself, just for that student connection, right? So thank you.
Absolutely. Now, Jade, what school board are you from?
SunWest School Division.
Okay. Have you had Scott do his destinations talk?
I don't know if we have. Like I said, I'm part of
Okay.
AVA team, and I'm not the lead on the team. I just came in last year. So I can check.
Yeah. So Scott has been basically he's kind of the business owner of that piece. Bailee and I were involved in the design and sort of the rationale and thinking behind it. But Scott has put together a really great presentation to help your educators understand all the things you just talked about, including triangulation, conversation, observation, product, and all the stuff, all the good modern assessment practice. That's really what we're focused on here. In the where am I going, how do I get there, that kind of stuff. So I would highly recommend that you get Scott to reach out. Now, I'm not sure what the process, maybe Mr. Myers knows what the process is for that. I could just tell Scott and he could send you a message. That's one.
There's a form to be filled out, and there's a link for that. So we could get that link over to you.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
And it's a half an hour presentation.
Okay.
I'll look for the link right now quickly, because it would be best if we could just share it right in the chat window.
There's also I think a little video as a teaser too for that. But it's better to have Scott in real life. Well, virtual real life. Okay. What is next? Where's my list of where are we going with this? Okay, so I think over to Bailee to quickly. So I'm cognizant we only have a few minutes left, and if you have to go, but the game doesn't start for another 2 hours, I don't believe. So it's still in LA, right? I think.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, it unlike hockey, they do it differently. Anyway, so Bailee's going to quickly go through the frill stuff, and then any other feedback, and then we can wrap up.
Yeah. So you probably know that we have an idea management system, also called Frill, also called the IMS, that you can access through your Edsby account. If you haven't done that already, if you log in to your Edsby, in the top header in the far right-hand corner, you have that question mark icon. Clicking that and dropping down to what's it called? Suggest a feature. Something like that. I don't remember the exact wording, but that links you right to a widget that lets you request new ideas, and a link to open up all the other ideas that we have going on. So you can comment on them, you can upvote them, let us know what you're interested in. So we have a few ideas in there already around AI, and those I've already put in the document that we've shared, and we'll put in the other ideas that came in today through that document. But we're going to lock this document after this call. So if you miss out on putting your idea in the document, you can just put that right into Frill. So just give it a concise title and then describe what you would like to see. And then we'll get the ideas flowing. We'll get the discussion started, and you can upvote each other if you'd like. Some people have an agreement, I'm pretty sure, because they always upvote each other's ideas, whatever gets our attention. So some ideas that we already have in there, just to kind of get the juices flowing. One is to put the AI text composer into messages, which would especially be great for translating with messages to and from parents. So that's an interesting feature. Another one would be AI report on the tone of report card comments. So real time, what does this sound like? Is this like not friendly enough? Is this professional? Is this, not really understandable to parents and students? What's the tone like? Another one is in question sheets. to specify the level of depth you want for your questions. So maybe you want something that's a little more surface level, maybe you want something that goes deep, maybe into more of the analytics stuff. Just being able to specify how deep you want to go. Another one for question sheets was generating them from the content that you have in attached files. So as you may know, that the question sheet only takes content that you have entered into Edsby, but a lot of people write lessons or create additional pages and stuff in something like Google Docs, or they'll upload a PDF file, but we can't read that right now. So the feature would be to allow us to read that and consider that when creating question sheets. I'll skip a few of them because you can even go into the IMS yourself and look through them all and see what you like. But another one would be for principals and district level staff to get a summary of the themes, like the constant themes and tones that you're seeing in report card comments. So that's another interesting thing around the existing features that we have. And if you have any ideas for stuff that you haven't seen from Edsby in the past, or anything that you saw today, we would love to hear it, because we have a lot of ideas going on, but we can't think of everything. So if there's something that you're going by your day-to-day and you're like, AI would be really helpful in this particular area, add it as an idea there, because we want to hear it. And you're probably not the only one who thinks that. And maybe someone just needs to verbalize it, and then everyone can jump on board. So if you have any ideas, you can do that. I think I saw one additional idea added in here. If I missed any, I'm very sorry. But one thing that looks new was with the writing critiquer to connect the feedback to the success criteria or learning destination. So that's a really great point. So if you, so in the gradebook, assessments can be tied to outcomes or expectations. And if that outcome is tied to a learning destination, then that will feed through. But really interesting point there is to suggest the success criteria that is addressed with the assignment. So not all the success criteria may be addressed with it, or maybe the student demonstrates an understanding of some of the success criteria that's involved, but not all of it. So AI could be helpful. I can see that as a way to kind of pinpoint what has been addressed, or maybe what you want to address in the assessment, either in the planning stage or in the grading stage. So that's a really interesting idea. But yeah, if you have any other ideas for that in the document or in the IMS, and we will find it. So yeah, that's all from me. I'll hand it back to one of the Johns. Not sure which one.
I'll speak, and then John can really close it off in the end parenthesis, I suppose. Thanks everyone for attending today and listening. Sometimes you'll probably have an idea, late, in the middle of the seventh inning or something. You'll have some idea. Feel free to blast it off in. Well, we won't turn off the document right away, so we'll maybe a day or two, right, Bailee? Is that what you said? Or you can put it in frill, either way. So we're happy to entertain it there. But thanks for everyone, and let's hope that the Jays win tonight. Back over to you, John. Thanks.
Well, thanks, everyone. I'll do a fast wrap up here. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your input, and we're delighted to have you as part of the enthusiast team. For those who will be watching this after the live session here, we apologize for all the Go Jays Go. Hopefully you'll be nodding your head saying, oh, those lucky people, the Jays did win. But you will know the answer when you watch this, possibly, if you watch this in a few days. For us, it's still a mystery. It's something we're just rooting for. So again, thanks for all the time, all the suggestions. It really does help us make a better product. So we appreciate all your input, and we look forward to the next one. Bye, everyone.
Well,